by the specialness of his calling.
It takes your attention away from real issues which make you feel weak as a human being and vulnerable, and replaces them with a sort of pseudo-sense of being somebody special, doing a special thing.
I think it's the reason I'm placed on this planet, and I hope that
I think George is drifting into a state of amorality. I think he's lost his moral compass.
I will not leave until I'm finished here, but I simply can't stay here and run the risk of all of this audience coming in.
I think he likes that feeling of control.
But that makes it sound like he's got some psychological difficulties.
Well, he has. I mean, he is in psychological difficulty because he's he's not just staring into the abyss, he's in serious danger of falling into it.
So far, I've only shown him some of the early tapes at the Seattle meeting and the night George helped Pam.
I wouldn't want you to come any farther than this.
But then when I show him this one, his opinion hardens.
I know it's bitter. Just keep drinking. Put your finger over your nose if you have to, and get it all down.
I don't think he can stop himself from what he's doing. I don't think he's got any control over what he's doing. I think he's come to rely on it to keep himself going. So I think it's become such an important part of his identity that he can't give it up. He feels more alive at these moments. The quality that shines out, there is almost an orgasmic experience. So I think there is something about the actual live quality of the experience of being in touch with somebody who's dying, which is important to him. He's had his orgasm. He's going on to the next one.
It's May 2007, and George's partner, Thomas, says he's developed ME. He says he's now too sick to come along to the suicides, and so George has had to find and groom a new assistant to carry on the business in case he goes to jail or kills himself. Her name is Susan, and she says she doesn't want her face shown. Yeah. George will be turning up at Susan's house at any moment, and while we wait, she tells me the story of how she met George.
I was bitten by a poisonous spider in 1993. I was so sick that I wanted to die. It was so painful, I literally wanted to die.
What was the type of spider?
A brown recluse spider.
Are they around here?
Uh-huh. Oh, they're all over the place.
Really? Are people bitten by them a lot?
All the time, yeah.
And do people have such a similar physical reaction to the one you had?
No, they don't. I called the Hemlock Society. They wouldn't help me.
Because you weren't terminally ill?
Yeah, they rejected me.
Susan says it was the established Right to Die lobbying group, the Hemlock Society, it's now called Compassion and Choices, that suggested she contact George.
They just said, give this guy a call.
Kind of like under the counter?
Yeah, kind of like under the counter.
I met Susan Wilson, George's friend, and she wanted to kill herself because she'd been bitten by a spider, and she said it was someone from the Hemlock Society who said you might want to call George.
Oh, I think it's highly likely. Yeah. There was a time when I thought he was operating ethically ethically, according to our ethics, and I used to pass cases to him.
Susan says she'd have killed herself with George's help, but she couldn't find anyone to look after her python.
So when he met you, he was perfectly prepared to help you?
Yes.
He didn't try and talk you out of it?
No, I talked him out of doing the job.
What do you mean by that? What did you say to him? What did he say?
I said, I can't bear to leave these animals that are very difficult to care for.
And what did he say to that?
And he said, okay, I'm not going to push you. When you're ready, you'll be ready.
Susan says she and George got talking. They decided that if she wasn't going to be his client, she should be his assistant. As time will tell, Susan may well turn out to be George's worst possible choice of assistant.
Hello.
How do you do?
Hi, George.
Hi.
How do you do? Well,
How long ago did you get here?
About half an hour
George
ago.
has a second job now. He's buying up houses that have been seized by the banks. Then he sells them on, although he hasn't managed to sell any yet.
So you can provide like the whole service, George. You can get them a house, and then when the banks foreclose, you can help them kill themselves.
George is not in a good way. His unsuccessful real estate business has put him heavily into debt.
By the way, George, I was talking to a theologian, and he just happened to mention to me that Unitarians don't wear dog collars. But you wear a dog collar.
Oh, they do. I think most don't, but it tends to make people more comfortable. And what I found was, over the years, people wanted me to wear the collar. Don't believe things that theologians tell you. Theologians tell you. My goodness. Anybody can wear a collar who wants to wear a collar.
Even me?
Yeah, even you, if you wish. I remember one time I was entering a senior citizens' home. And I was trying to get in the front door, which was locked, as they often are. And this lovely lady came, and she opened the door with her key and said, "Well, if you can't trust a priest, who can you trust?" So there you go.
So you're down in the dumps, George?
Am I down in the dumps? What do you mean, am I down in the dumps?
Down in the dumps, so sort of a bit depressed.
Because why? Why am I down in the dumps?
Well, because you said that the real estate hasn't paid off, and you've got, the international police after you.
But I don't want to discuss all that stuff on camera. All right. What time are we going to have any lunch, friends? I want to ask the question.
Susan had said that her multiple chemical sensitivities are so severe she can only eat in one restaurant where the atmosphere happens to not set off her symptoms. But then we end up eating in a different restaurant and she's fine. After lunch, we head back to the house.
In the Arizona tape,
Yes.
you were very much in control. She said it's bitter. And you said, well, put your finger over your nose and drink it down.
Yeah, absolutely, because I'd been through that argument with her before. She was using all that. She's used all that stuff before. If you really want to end your life, and it's bitter, you'll drink it, because you know that that's the last thing you'll ever have to drink. You do it, and you don't complain about it or use it as an excuse for not drinking it. That's what she had kind of used that before. Oh, it's bitter. Well, yes, it's bitter.
She'd tasted it before?
Yeah, she'd tasted it.
What, have you been there?
I had been there with her twice, yes. So
in person?
Yes.
And she tasted a bit and said it was bitter and
yes.
she didn't want to taste it?
Yeah, right. So that becomes one of the excuses why not to do it. What kind of bull twaddle is that? If you're really serious about it, you're going to do it. She's got the Rolls Royce there, right there in her hand. The stuff that people around the world would give their eye teeth for. She's got it in her hand, and she's still whining about it. So now, what do you want me to cry? Should I cry for you?
No, I don't. I was struck by the word kind of whining. I mean, this is somebody who's not knowing whether to kill themselves or not.
But you see, because I've been through this thing with them already, and I hear that excuse. If she really wants to do it, then let's just do it. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do is drink it. Drink me.